Let's talk about the Canadians. They're 0-5. They're on a ship that's destined to sink right now. Um, how do we fix this? Who's to blame? Let's dive a little bit deeper into that, shall we? When you're 0-5, there isn't a whole lot to be positive about. And with the Canadians, that couldn't be more true right now. They're 0-5, and there's really nothing to draw from. They've got 4 goals in 5 games. They've been shut out by a goalie named Aiden Hill, who is not a bad goalie, but I mean, Aiden Hill is shutting you out on home ice on a team that in front of him that's not that good, in the Sharks. No offense to the Sharks. And there's more, right? Their power play, 5% so far this season. They've only scored once with the man advantage. Their penalty kill, 55%. Nothing is going well. They're young players, Suzuki, Caulfield, Romanov. None of them have been particularly spectacular to start the season either. And when that's the case, it's really difficult to draw any positives from being 0-5. It's really hard to think that it's going to be turned around. Because why would it be? What's going to change? And I think that's the main takeaway right now. What's going to change? Well, I don't think there is something that you can change overnight that's going to make this team better. Right now, they're not a playoff team, and I don't even think that's debatable. And I hate to be the I told you so person, but in my off-season series, that is exactly what I said. That this team is not good enough. That the moves that Marc Bergevin has made are at best going to take them from a bottom of the pack team to a middle of the pack team that still is not good enough to compete for a Stanley Cup. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe they're not even a middle of the pack team, but they're not a playoff team. That is very true right now. But who do you blame? How do you blame one person in particular? I don't think you can. And when I say that, I don't mean nobody. I don't mean people are free of blame. I mean Marc Bergevin had a terrible offseason, both on and off the ice. Really, a lot of moves that made me scratch my head. But Dom Ducharme, I don't think he's done a very good job coaching. Neither have the rest of the coaching staff. I mean, Burrows, I would think he's responsible for the power play, and it's terrible. The penalty kill, that's Luke Richardson. Terrible. So the players aren't playing particularly well either. Like there isn't a single player that I could say has been a positive in more than half the games. Drouin has had a couple flashes here and there, but he's also had some games where he hasn't been great. Ben Sherrod has been terrible, as you could see him coming out of the box. That's been a theme. He's going to the box a lot. Jeff Petrie, who's supposed to be the Habs' number one guy right now, especially without Shea Weber for maybe forever at this point, he's been terrible. There isn't a glimmer of hope right now. There's just nothing to draw from. And I hate to sound pessimistic, but I don't know if there is anything to be optimistic about. They're just not good in every facet. 5-on-5, shorthanded, with the man advantage, they're bad. And I think that comes down to roster construction, I think it comes down to execution, and I think it comes down to coaching. I think all three of those areas of the game are going poorly for the Canadians. And that's significant because it's a very noticeable difference from teams of the past. I think when Claude Julien was the coach, that team that had 96 points and missed the playoffs by 2 points a couple of years ago, they were a fantastic team at 5-on-5. They executed really well there. They worked their butts off. Effort was at maximum level most nights. But they had a power play percentage of 13%, and it killed them. Kirk Muller was the one that took a lot of blame for that, as well as Julien. And they've never really gotten to the point where it's been better, but at least at 5-on-5, they were good. And they had one of the best lines in hockey in doing so, with Tatar, Gallagher, and Danault. Well, they've gotten rid of both of Danault and Tatar, and now Gallagher doesn't look the same. And quite frankly, the whole team doesn't. At 5-on-5, they're not doing what they used to do. Nothing is working. And that comes down to a couple things. It comes down to the way you play, but I also think it comes down to just letting both of those players go for nothing, not getting any value for them, letting them walk in free agency. And I understand that there's a price that you didn't want to pay for a guy like Phil Deneau, but when you lose them, and you bring in Dvorak is the guy who you're supposed to replace, which you give up a first round pick for, by the way, that is top 10 protected, which looks like they might be able to retain then because of the way they're heading. That's exactly what it's going to be. But you're still giving up a first round pick for a player who you're going to be a bottom 10 team, and I don't know. I could rant about certain things all day when it comes to this, but like the strengths that this team had a few years ago aren't there. And the problem is, if you're going to lose a strength, you have to gain a strength. And the Canadiens haven't done that. They don't have a strength anywhere. Defensively, they're giving up odd man rushes like the one on the screen here. They're just making mistakes that you can't make and be successful. And they don't have a strength that they can play to right now. The man advantage, bad. Penalty kill, bad. On their cup run last year, their penalty kill was 91%. It's 40% worse now. They've given up a shorthanded goal, or allowed a power play goal in every single game so far. And the problem is they're not staying out of the box either. So they're giving the opportunities there, and they're not killing them. And that is killing them. And like I said, it's more than just coaching. I mean, you look at their roster turnover. They went to the Stanley Cup Finals last year, and they have 5 or 6 new forwards, 2 or 3 new defensemen. I mean, it's a completely different team. To compare this team to the team that went to the Cup Finals last year is not fair because it's not the same team, including in net, right? Carey Price was your goalie last year, and he was the main reason you went as far as you did. He won at least 3 or 4 games for them, it felt like. He's not there. And let's not say I'm blaming Jake Allen, because Jake Allen has got 0 run support, literally. There is not a game he's played in this season, not one, in which he would have won the game if he only allowed one. He has to have a shutout in order to win games right now, because the most goals he's ever gotten in run support is 1. And again, it's coaching, it's execution from the players, and it's roster construction. Their D can't move the puck. They don't have enough puck-moving defensemen because they have this prototype of we need big, strong defensemen. And then look at some of these goals. I mean, they're deflections in front of the net. So you went and invested in this defensive core that's big and that's strong, and they're not even clearing the front of the net. They're just giving up deflections, and they're taking penalties, and then they're not killing the penalties. Everything is going poorly. Like I said, they had a penalty kill of 90% in the playoffs last year. It's not even close. They have the second worst penalty kill in the league now. Everything that can be going wrong is going wrong. And it's hard to be optimistic about much. Their prospects. How do you have any faith that that's going to pan out when, one of the top prospects you have in the last few years is playing for the other team yesterday and scoring the dagger, the 3-1 goal? Because you didn't develop him? You didn't feel like signing him because he wasn't worth the money? Okay, but that's not exactly ideal. How do you be optimistic? What's there to be excited about? Everything that can go wrong for the Canadiens is going wrong, and their prospect pool. They don't have future first liners. The only thing you can be optimistic about right now, I think, if you're a Canadiens fan, is, well, Shane Wright looks pretty good, and maybe we have a chance at him. But I mean, look at cross-seam passes are wide open. Deflections in front of the net are wide open. That's what the defensemen you invested in these big, strong defensemen who are also veterans should be able to recognize these, should be able to shut these types of plays down. It's not happening. It's poor roster construction. It's poor execution. It's poor coaching. I don't know if it's one more than the other, but it's all three, at least. It's just bad from top to bottom. And I mean, like look at this. This is like a minute and a half after the first goal. It's a carbon copy, just wide open through the seam. And I mean, this is a theme all year long so far. It's open season in front of the net. It's open season through the seam passes. If you can do whatever you want against the Canadiens, they're not taking anything away. And they're also not going to score. So if you get 2 goals, you basically won the game right now. And I know it's easy to harp on them from the couch and be critical. And I also know it's very early, so you don't want to make too hastily with these conclusions. You don't want to make these bad decisions. But I mean, like, every game they have come in and they've been the worst of the two teams for the most part. And again, how do you be optimistic when there's so little to be optimistic about? and they look lost, and something has to give. And I'm gonna be honest. There's a lot of things that I've noticed. I mean, they're still dumping the puck in. I mean, how many times? Here's a challenge for you fans watching. The next game, I want you to watch how often Cole Caulfield's line dumps the puck into the corner. Now, dump and chase is not a bad strategy if you're Josh Anderson and you're big and you're strong and you can go retrieve the puck. As here's a nice tweet from me. I say, I hate to sound like a pessimist, I really do, but there's literally nothing positive to tweet about. 3-0 San Jose at the end of the first. Sherrod Savard pairing looking bad. So they split that pairing up, but that's still true. There's really not a whole lot to be positive about. And it's because I look at the game and there's so many mistakes that they make. How many times is Caulfield's line going to dump the puck into the corner and expect a 5'7" guy to go win a puck battle? That's not winning hockey. Here's a quote from Ducharme today. Anyone can bury us right now, and we don't care. Seriously, we don't care. We're going to take care of business, and we'll finish where we deserve to finish. Now, people took this out of context. People assume that he said he doesn't care about the results or a lot of different things. He's saying they don't care about what the media is saying about them. I still don't love this quote, though, because it's like, you should care, because they deserve to be burying you right now. You're 0-5. There's literally everything that's going wrong is going wrong. I keep hammering this home. There's not a whole lot to be optimistic about. Their penalty kill, power play, everything is bad. And so you should be caring. You should be upset that people are saying bad things about you. All right, we're going to take care of business and finish where we deserve to finish. You deserve to be in last place right now. You fully deserve to be in last place. You have 4 goals in 5 games. So it's early. I plan to do a lot more videos like this, and hopefully the next few are more positive. Maybe a couple more breakdowns as well of plays, because right now there's not a whole lot to break down. But here's a challenge for any listeners that are still listening. Sorry this video is negative, by the way, but again, what am I supposed to talk about? I want you to watch the next game they play. And I want people to tell me, if they point it out, if they can see it, how often they see Cole Caulfield's line dumping the puck in the corner. Again, I don't have a problem with Josh Anderson's line doing it, because Josh Anderson's 6'4", or whatever. He's big, he's strong, he's fast. That he might thrive doing that. Cole Caulfield will not thrive doing that. So hopefully the next video I make is more positive. Hopefully there's more to shine a light on. But the Canes are 0-5 right now for a reason, and where they deserve to finish is last place.